This week we're looking at the urban farmer Curtis Stone. Curtis has been a big influence on us. We probably wouldn't be market gardening without Curtis and John Martin Fortier's visit to New Zealand in 2016. Prior, our production was in seed production and we switched pretty quickly into fast-growing salad. This is Curtis's greenhouse. He's sowing microgreens. Fast-growing salad was the key part, or the integral part of his production, which really enabled him to grow a living on a very small piece of land. These are sunflower shoots, very fast growing, very popular. Curtis was doing radish microgreens, pea shoots. They were kind of the fastest growing, high yielding crops that he was doing most of the year. And he was a prolific content maker, showcasing what he was learning along the way. He really started from nothing and built his empire up on other people's land to a point where he eventually brought one of the leases and made that his home base. This is one of his leases where he put up a greenhouse using a lot of weed mat just to really lower the maintenance. He had about lots of different leases, but he had about 5 different leases that were relatively close to each other, and he would bike from each site to plant, harvest, and take everything back to the home depot to wash and pack. This is his front yard. Pretty radical to be not just to be growing food on the front yard, but to be growing an income on the front yard as well. He really popularized the idea of you can make a living on a small piece of land, and also the concept of fast growing crops. His book, The Urban Farmer, outlines putting a value rating to the crops that you're growing, and I highly recommend everybody doing that within their own production. It really helps you analyze where the value is. So it's August 2016 that I visited Curtis the Urban Farmer. His business name is Green City Acres in Kelowna, British Columbia. Very hot, dry summers. And it was the 2016 series on Farm Small, Farm Smart, the Urban Farmer is very detailed on this 40 episodes week to week on what's happening on the farm. Highly recommend that listen. This is his bubbler he set up in his wash and pack. His wash and pack was open air with a roof cover over the top, and the wash and pack was immediately behind his passive solar greenhouse. He was also growing fast-growing root veg, a lot of carrots, Tokyo turnips, radishes were a lot of the most popular ones, and set up really quick to wash them just with the draining system underneath and a pressure washer to clean the roots. Mostly tops off or just some tops left on, which really helps with the shelf life. His employee Mark Glimmer was managing most of the field work, and he would cycle with a trailer to the different sites to plant and harvest. Here he is using the single Jang, and Curtis has really put up a heap of content about all the different tools and how to use them in their different contexts. The quick cut greens harvester. Here's Mark harvesting baby greens. And these were all harvested early in the morning and then taken on the trailer on the bicycle straight back to wash and pack to process. So all the direct seeded greens were cut with the quick cut greens harvester, available from Farmer's Friend. The lettuce was transplanted onto weed mat and hand harvested, Salanovas, multiple cuts off these. And it's interesting watching over the years as Curtis improved his income on about 1/3 of an acre approximately. Each year he refined his income and narrowed his crops, and it's a similar process we're seeing with other growers also, like Ben Hartman and ourselves at Roebuck Farm. Cherry tomatoes in greenhouses. Curtis also had a second greenhouse that he built on his home site as well. And he was growing basil as well, and tipping the basil constantly to get the high yield. So it's a labor intensive way, but it also makes sense when you're on a very small land area, and packaging them ready to go off into different sales streams. In the later part of his career, he finished up at the farmers market, and started supplying the supermarket. He's also supplying a lot of restaurants. This is the passive solar greenhouse. It's double skinned, and it's immediately behind is the roof line for wash and pack, and immediately behind this is his house. So yeah, beautiful greenhouse. Really nice production. They're mainly microgreens production in this greenhouse, where he's pushing that as many months of the year as he can. So it was 2016, Curtis first came to New Zealand, ran an event. We were still in seed production then, and then so 2016, first visit to New Zealand, and Curtis and Jean Martin both said to me, if you'd like to come and work on our farms, you're welcome. So I did that, and then Curtis returned a year later, and we'd set up the beginnings of the market garden. We expanded with 30-inch beds that's 75 centimeters wide, and built wash and pack ready to be able to start selling our fast-growing crops direct marketed across our town of New Plymouth, which is 80,000 people. We ran a 4-day event. A lot of growers came in from Australasia, and we had all of the fast crops in as trials. It was very different for us now growing fast crops when seed crops used to take it sometimes nearly a year and a half to produce seed. So it was a big shift to start working with new tools like the Jang, the tilther, the greens harvester, and also to start getting used to the quick successions, or what Curtis calls high rotation. Most of our crops these days are high rotation. So these were our field trials that we did in the early days, and we were just selling these to a buyers club. We weren't registered with the Food Act yet. Wash and pack was operational. We could wash and dry salad, but we didn't have a walk-in chiller. And this is really first season setup. We had built the bubbler and the bones of wash and pack. And I really saw in my travels how integral wash and pack is. Jean Martin talks about it being 40% of your work. So we invested early here in being able to wash, dry, and package our fast-growing crops, especially the salad. The bubbler was just a game changer. And it was nice, having worked in other wash and packs, to see the workflow and what actually needs to happen in there as to how we were going to design it. So this is an aerial shot Curtis took as we were expanding. All of the skinny beds on the right are new, and the wash and pack shed, which was operational but just bare bones, was up and running as well. And it was within the following season that we started at our first retail store, our first restaurant, and we're at 2 farmers markets as well. So moving forward, eight seasons later, the wash and pack has still got the same process: wash, spin, dry. The walk-in chiller is center in the wash and pack, and the tool shed is immediately beside it. It's a really nice controlled area to work and to really work on getting the moisture content of the salads just perfect to really increase their shelf life. So we're really specializing in salad mix these days, and we're set up, everything's mobile on wheels. Here's a grower, Tiago. He is from Portugal. He's setting up his own business there now, set out to make our salad mix. And I think I'm going to finish with this one. One of the strongest, or one of the most empowering concepts that I took from Curtis was the concept of optionality, and that's really what salad mix allows us to do. It allows us to combine 4 different types of crops, and they can be different colors as well, and it gives us the optionality to create the mix on the day. It always has a different look, a bit more green lettuce, a bit more red mizuna, more peas or less pea shoots. The creative license is one thing that really helps build your consistency. So for more work, you can check out The Urban Farmer on YouTube, and for our work you can check out roebuckfarm.com. We have a newsletter that comes out most weeks. Also all of our podcasts, Farm Small, Farm Smart with Diego Footer. Our series is called The Profitable Mini Farm.